It's Grey Cup time again. This year marks the 106th meeting between two Canadian football teams vying for the championship. And either side would be only too lucky to have a quarterback such as Chuck Ealey. And it's our pleasure to welcome him back to the studio, the most valuable player from the 60th Grey Cup, Chuck Ealey. Hi.
Hi.
It's nice to see you again.
It's nice to be here.
Before we talk CFL, I'd like to show you a clip that you're probably familiar with.
Okay.
Sheldon, please roll.
With overtime looming, Chuck Ealey starts the last drive. "27 yards to Tony Gabriel, his first today.
Vamos, baby!
Again, Ealey picks Gabriel, 12 yards, and another first down.
So that was 1972,
Right.
and you were named MVP of the Grey Cup
Right.
and named Rookie of the Year. What was it like to lead a team to the Grey Cup as a rookie?
It was quite exciting because, you know, now you're in a position where you're playing for money and pro and all those type of things that you sort of dreamed about when you were a kid, probably. And it was very exciting to be around the atmosphere that was happening in Hamilton because the community was very involved with it. So to be able to do that and be able to win that game was very important.
You mentioned some things that you might be playing for. What were you playing for that year?
I was just playing for the game. I was enjoying the game. I had some successes in university and high school and all those type of things. And
Some
just
successes. We'll talk about that in a second.
Well, just go into the next level and to be a part of a championship team at that level was quite exciting for me.
Well, in winning the Grey Cup, you became the first black quarterback to lead his team to a professional football championship on either side of the border.
Right.
At the time when that happened, were you aware that you were making history?
No, no, I wasn't. I mean, because it's kind of like living sort of a dream that you're doing. You go one step, another step, and I didn't understand that as far as history. I knew from the National Football League that there was no African-American quarterbacks playing there at all, so that was not an issue. But I didn't know because I was so welcome and open to come to Canada that there was anybody else before that won that Grey Cup.
And speaking about some successes like you mentioned too, you never lost in high school or college, but you lost a couple of times that year in the CFL. What was it like to finally lose?
Yeah, well, you know, that was one of the big questions that people always ask me, you know, what was it finally lose a game? Well, the thing from an athlete and a person who played a lot of different sports, you lost. You knew what that was about, losing, whether it was anything. So it was not so much a shock as much as that the reality comes into play that wasn't going to go on for every day that I played. But so it was okay. It was just a matter of adjusting, and now the game's gone, and now you move on to try to find a winning streak again.
We should say that when you did lose, you weren't the starting quarterback.
No.
When you started the team, when you became a starting quarterback, your team started to win.
Right. Yeah.
Let's go back to your university days. I'm playing in Toledo, Ohio.
Right.
Your team, the Toledo Rockets, was undefeated for 3 straight years with you as the quarterback.
Right.
Your NCAA record of 35-0 still stands, yet you weren't drafted into the NFL. What happened?
Well, that was part of history. I mean, at that period of time, no African-American black quarterbacks were ever taken in there. There was one of them, Joe Gilliam, that went to Pittsburgh, but that was around the same time. And it was just the nature of the beast at that time with civil rights and the things that were going on, that there was no African-American quarterbacks playing. And I wasn't anticipating being drafted in there because they called me about playing defensive back, which was a normal thing that they did, and moved the athletes into wide receivers or defensive back, and never got a chance. So that was just part of the time that we were living in.
And what did it mean for you to finally be able to play the position that you were so great at, even though it was in a different country?
Well, it was outstanding because actually I wasn't even thinking about playing pro. When I was young, I got my degree, and that was the main thing that I wanted to have, and to have that kind of control. But when I got the offer from the Canadian Football League to come and play, I turned down some business opportunities and decided to go play a few more years and enjoy the game. And it was great because Canada has been nothing else but wonderful to me and my family.
Why was the football not your main focus, but education? Because you think a lot, you know, football, the limelight, the money, you could become financially independent.
Well, you could if the circumstances were right, but education probably helped me be more financially independent on the long run of things, to be quite honest with you. And ever since I was a kid, my whole thought process was to use sport, whether it be basketball, football, baseball, as a process to get my education because I couldn't afford it. So my whole vision was probably a lot different than most people would think when you end up playing pro, because it took away some of the scary things when you got your degree, because you knew that you had some power in some situations to make a difference in your own life. And most people kind of look at the football avenue of it. That's why you went to school, so that you could play football professionally. And that was never the case. I didn't even think about playing professional football until late in my senior year of playing, and somebody said, well, you can play. I said, well, we'll see. But I knew I was getting my degree at the end of that year, so that was more important to me at that time.
And it was also important to you because of your mom, right?
Right. Yeah, my mother only had an 8th grade education, and so that negativity of that situation, understanding the circumstances you live in, created an avenue for me to have a dream for me and my family based off of what I can do with education more so than sport, because at that time, even though you got paid, you wouldn't have been able to live on that for a long time.
And speaking of family, you've said in the past that you came to Canada to live the American dream.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Well, the opportunity to have the freedom to go anywhere I wanted to go, do anything I wanted to do, whether it be football or business or whatever. I didn't realize it was such a difference in two countries in somewhat until I got here and see some of the things in diversity and other things that happened that made a big impact on myself and my family as they were growing and the circumstances around it. So the American dream was the first one. First step was that I could play football and I could play any position that I wanted to play, regardless of what it was, and take advantage of it. Yeah, and that's what it was happening. That was part of the dream that you would always hope in America that you didn't. But when they took away the football aspect of it, that was part of the American dream, coming here and playing. Now,
you came of age in the civil rights movement, and you even participated in a sit-in.
Yep.
In the political climate that we find ourselves in right now, so much of the past seems to be replaying itself right now.
Right.
Do you think that sports can be used to affect positive change?
Oh, I think so. I think the voices that we have and how we use that into, I mean, I speak to people about who they are, but also how their outward relationship they have with the rest of the world, and the things that we can do to help people, even on a day basis, as we begin to communicate with young people who aspire to take into sport and be good at that sport, but to get them focused at education and sport are all one and the same, but the education stems not only from academics, but the relationship you have with people and respecting other people for who they are, what they are, and how they are getting to be. So I think we have a platform because it puts us in the public eye.
And what would you, because looking at your life story, you could have gone a very different path.
Yeah.
And when we speak of young people, Toronto is a city that's been experiencing a lot of gun violence this past year.
Right.
What do you think allowed you to go on the path that you went on instead of going on one that could have ended you up in a different situation?
Well, I think that, one, marrying the right woman, my wife, and I think in my faith in my Christianity and what I believe that talks about love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, and all those type of things that we need to have to be able to deal with the rest of our world. And I think that those type of things and principles that my mom taught me with respect and all those type of things of people who are older, younger, around you and all those things, they all sort of culminated into who I am and what I'm all about. So those are key.
Let's go back to football for a second.
Okay.
Your undefeated record at the University of Toledo still stands.
Right.
Yet you're not in the College Football Hall of Fame. I've even seen an online petition, your fans saying that you should be in the hall. What would it mean to you to be inducted one day?
I think it would mean more in this concept of that they recognize what took place versus trying not to recognize it. And it would mean a lot to me and my teammates because of, that was not done in an avenue by myself, but my school, my university, my teammates, and for me as an individual to say, yeah, you did something very special. You should be here, and that would mean a lot to me. But I'm not hanging on that because I know what happened. They know what happened, and everybody else knows what happened, and that's where it goes. So I don't anchor myself on a lot of awards and things that there. I mean, I've thrown away more trophies than most people ever see, and I feel very honored by those things, and I'd be very honored by it, but not necessarily have to have it.
Just to go, we only have a few seconds left, but just to go back, that team too was very unique because kind of marries what's happening in the world today where it feels like there's a lot of division. That team was really diverse, and you all worked together for 3 years to create this undefeated record, which speaks a lot to what?
Well, I mean, it speaks a lot to what can be done in the relationship because people have to know each other. I think the diversity that basically happens in the U.S. Was keeping everybody apart. But when you have to come with one common goal, you can see where everything has to be not even thought about. So once you go into that uniform and you go into that field, everything becomes equal, and the people that they're playing with, whether they're black, white, whatever they may be, has one common goal. And that goal, you can say, whatever team is, whether it be sport or business or whatever, you can function.
If you have a common goal.
You have a common goal.
This weekend, obviously, Grey Cup. Who are you rooting for?
Well, neither one of the teams I played for are in there. So, I guess if anybody, you want to encourage the team that's probably the underdog with Ottawa going against Calgary. But Calgary has a great team. They've been there for the last 3 years, and so they got beat up on 2 of those years. So I'm sure they're looking to do it. So I'm looking for them to have a great game and see it.
Well, I'm just going to say Ottawa because it's in Ontario.
Yeah, it's the Eastern team. Yeah.
Exactly. Mr. Ealey, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Okay.
The Agenda with Steve Bacon is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, helping businesses stay on the right side of change with strategic thinking, insightful decisions, and business leadership. Are you on the right side of change? Ask an Ontario CPA.